Let me just check his. Yep.
Hello everyone, Happy New Year and welcome to Formula Trout. This is the first round of this year's Sprint Series Championship, and as you can see we're going stock car racing down in the States, and I'm so looking forward to this. 4 rounds, it's a relatively short championship, but that's okay because it's going to be one that really tests the drivers. We've got the best of both worlds in terms of road courses, as they call them in the States, and then oval racing as well, ending of course in a very long, it's going to be a 250-mile race at the Indianapolis circuit, which I'm so looking forward to. Joining me alongside me today is going to be Robbie Arthur. Hello Robbie, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks. Now, since I've never commentated with you before, we're probably going to figure out kind of how it's going to work as we go along. But that should be okay. Let's watch this qualifying session. Currently watching Thomas Marshall. He's going to be the second driver, I think, to set a flying lap. Stevenson will cross the line first and show us kind of what times we should be looking for. Stevenson was pretty good in the practice session. He was second overall, and he begins his lap now. Let's take a look at some of the liveries quickly. We have some wonderful liveries in this championship, some very funny ones. Here's Stevenson's livery, one of the Mustang cars, and Stevenson is driving for the I'm just checking. Frostbite, that's it. The Frostbite racing team, alongside Stephen Heppener and potentially Luca Dolciotti. There is Stephen Heppener in the number 75 car behind him. Keys Willems here is in the Century Sim car, the Lioneers Racing car, indeed. Nice and bright orange, very nice shade of orange there. And there's Oliver Gibson in the same car, and Jack Coven. Samuel Ward has the DAC racing car, and you described this one as looking like a 2010 style Renault Formula 1 car, Robbie. Great looking car, isn't it?
Yeah, I did. It is, yes. Also, you can see it's a very similar yellow to what Renault would use. It's got a hint of black, like Renault would use as well. It's a very nice livery with the DAC. It's got a very NASCAR-ish design to it.
Absolutely. Following Samuel Ward around is his teammate Dave Southwood. Looks if the cars are going in groups of 2, potentially, in order to lead some slipstreaming, and aid each individual driver in their runs. Here's Jan Dragoon. Very unusual shade. I'm not even sure what to call that colour. It's like a kind of like muddy purple, but I mean that sounds like an insult, and it really shouldn't be, because that does look like a very I don't know, it just kind of works, especially with the red highlights on that car. Very nice looking vehicle for Jan Dragoon, and he is racing for Concord Racing Team. There's another DAC car, Alex Cochran, with a blue DAC racing car. So less like an early 2000s Renault and more like maybe a kind of like mid 2000s. Nah, it's a bit too dark for that, but it's still a decently liveried car. I think I actually prefer this one to the other DAC car. Sorry, Jace, I know you also race one of the DACs. Behind him... Sorry, Robbie, what was that?
So, the blue DAC, that is DAC's... I won't say beta, I'd say sister team. That is not DAC Racing.
So it is.
It's called not DAC Racing.
Yes, they are registered as not DAC Racing as well. And they should have Max Hammerlink, although I haven't seen him here today. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't. I think he had a bit of a team change at some point there. I don't know what happened to Max Hammerlink. Not really know.
Fair enough. Bit of a shame, but anyway. Here's... Oh god, I have to get his full name on screen to actually read this properly. This is...
I know it.
Panagiotopoulos? I can't see his first name.
Panagiotopoulos. For some reason, I'm very good at pronouncing Greek names. I don't know why, but that is Stathis Panagiotopoulos.
Very, very good. That does look about right. And he's in another of those Concorde racing cars. Agnes Rositsa's there. Has a racing army car. There's one car that I really, really want to show you, which is out here somewhere, which we haven't seen on stream yet. And I can't. Oh well, here's one of them. This is Thomas Marshall here. Whoa, having a big spin, and he's going into the wall backwards.
Right.
The first crash we've caught on stream, and it's one of the RG racing cars of Robbie Arthur there.
My team, yeah. Very nice British racing green we've gone for this livery. We've used Union Jack as a background of our numbers. I love this livery, and I'm saying that purely because it's my team and being a bit biased. Genuinely, I'd like to thank Case1 for making that livery. He's done a very good job there. So hopefully I'll be on track with this team as well soon.
He has indeed, and I'm expecting Thomas Marshall to pull into the pits here, because you have to make it back to the pits in order to head back out again on in the qualifying session. I'm still looking for... There's one car that I really, really want to get on stream that I haven't been able to see yet, which is the Bag Motorsports car. Is that one? Yes, that is. That's Matheus Morgado, who appears to be parked backwards in the barrier right now. But I'll show you some of the decals on this car. Move over, pal, on the front, so that anyone who sees the car in the mirror will instantly move over, because they have to obey instructions. Hashtag We Race for Ross on the front there. And if you look at the back as well, I Heart Russ. I didn't get that much love when I was commentating the Premier Series, and I'm being told that apparently there are Ross decals all over this car in the Premier Series as well. So I don't know, gotta get justice for Caitlin on some of those cars next. Just to give all the commentators representation. I don't know, Robbie Arthur decals on Bag Motorsports cars when.
RG, well, I'll do it for RG Racing, can't we?
But then, of course, they also have the famous Top Gear logos of Peniston Oils. Careful how you say that, and Larson Biscuits as well. And then the Part Hub, which I believe is from GTA. And he's still kind of stuck on the outside of the corner there, which is a bit of a dangerous place, because that is a very fast section of track, and he bounces off the barriers trying to rejoin. Oh, and getting in the way of his teammate too. That is not great. Oh, more cars coming through. He's going to be really holding up some people here, because he is right on the apex of that corner. Still plenty of time to go in this qualifying session though, Robbie.
Yeah, Matheus Morgado's just seen now he's out qualifying. He's gone back to pits. So yeah, that'll be that for him. Yeah, at the minute we've got the Frostbite of Stevenson. Obviously a very nice looking car. He's flat at the minute. The reigning Sprint Series champion. Obviously, if you remember, obviously I was commentating the last one, which was the VRC 2021 IndyCar. Obviously, he won that in Austin. He's now in Frostbite. He's moved from Toto Rosso to Frostbite, alongside Stephen Heppener, the Shaken Stevens in MI for that team. But yeah, it's a very nice car. Yes, nice idea, and yeah, it's a very nice car.
Sam Ward just setting up for a flying lap now, being held up a little by the car in front of him. Not diving into the pits though, so obviously still wants to go for that lap, and if he can get the slipstream front, nope, that's bad, that's going to hold him up there coming onto the straight. The reason I've switched to this car is because Sam Wood was the fastest driver in the practice session just now, and so should have more in the bag. He was about 3/10 faster in practice than he has been in quali so far. So when he gets a clean lap, I think he should be a force to be reckoned with. Who do you want to take a look at, Robbie?
Well, we've kind of gone to everyone so far, haven't we? Let's look at Racing Army. Actually, there's one thing we haven't looked at. Racing Army. It's a brand new team. It's their first ever racing formula out. I must say it's an interesting move. They've gone for a bit of a, you know, them things that soundproof rooms like in music recording tools. They've kind of gone for that design. They've used a bit of red on there, a bit of camo on the bonnet, which I like as well. They've got in their team, I believe, let's get up here, Simon Benoit. I think that's it. must have Watkins visited somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, there.
Just caught Rosita's going into the pit. He is currently in 5th position in the qualifying session and not doing too badly. So they've got 2 cars in the top 10 there. Maxi Younger is also registered in that car, although he is not out in this session, and I don't think he's going to be racing today. You do often get a few more drivers signing up to these events than end up racing, which is not ideal, but it's okay. It's the kind of thing that happens in sim racing, since these are all amateur drivers who may have other things that come up and other things that are more important. Well, I say that, but there's nothing more important than Formula Trout. Simon Benoit here, a little down on his time in the 2nd sector there, but actually the time that was shown in the bottom right is actually relative to the lead, a bit squirrely over the curb there. Come to think of it, actually, I'm not sure how strict they're going to be about track limits today, because in real NASCAR, of course, track limits, especially when they go to the Glen. But of course, since this is Formula Trout, a European-based series, I'm wondering if it's going to be a little different. Do you know anything about that?
Right, yes, I do know quite a bit about the track limits. Well, I was with a few lads, Stevenson's out qualifying. I was with a few lads earlier in a call, a few lads that are in this race now, Oliver, Thomas, and they have track limits. They do have quite strict track limits. Turn 1 being one of the biggest ones. If you go slightly off the curb, over to the left-hand side of the curb, that is it. Your lap is invalid. Yeah, it's a European league. We have track limits over there. Yeah, I can imagine that the penultimate corner will have quite strict track limit rules as well. But yeah, it's...
Whoa! And that's in the wall there from Simon Benoit. Bounces it off and carries on, and we'll head into the pit lane after that one. He's very lucky, actually, because as I said before, if you don't manage to get back to the pits, then you don't get to go out again in your qualifying session. Back to Sam Ward. I'm still convinced that there is a lot more to come from him, especially after what we saw in the practice session. Dave Southwood goes up into P5 there, although still a big gap to the leader, so Stevenson still with a big advantage. Ward now backing off his lap, possibly preparing for another one, unless he dives into the pits. Even if he does come into the pits, he does have enough time to start another lap, but he's going for on track, so I think we're about to see what he can do. Sam Ward across the start-finish line towards turn 1. Turn 1's an interesting one. It's extremely wide on the entrance and then tightens up mid-corner, which can often, whoopsie-daisy, lead to situations like that, as you see a car parked backwards on the exit. Up through the S's here, not a place for bump drafting, which is something that someone I was racing once didn't appear to know, and I ended up in the barrier very hard. And up towards the chicane. This is the bus stop chicane, which has very high curbs that can flick the car off and cause so many problems. Down into the boot, you can drive a longer course here. There are some series that go off to the left there and go all the way around the boot section, but NASCAR skips that, and so do we. And of course, as a result, you end up straight up here at the penultimate corner with the track limits. Oh, I think he just about kept a wheel on there. Very close, but made it. And then you get the banked final corner up by the safer barrier and across the line, and that's an improvement. It's only just an improvement though, so Stevenson stays P1, Robbie.
Yes, he does. Funny enough, Samuel Ward, and that is probably the front 2 settled. Stevenson actually went back to pits quite a while back, but he's managed to retain pole position. Samuel Ward, obviously, unless he's got enough fuel, yes, he can probably. Maybe he's going again this lap to try and just beat the American to pole. But we don't know. Yeah, at the minute though, it is going to be Stevenson that gets pole position P1. Check flag is out, and I don't see Samuel Ward going any quicker, so I reckon that is it.
It looks like it might well be Stevenson for pole. It's all, I mean, Ward is pretty much the only driver within attacking range of him in time, but he's a long way down on this lap. Jan Dragoon, let's see what he can do. He's going to be about 3/10 down, so it looks to me like Stevenson has the pole. And it's, I mean, for a track this short, it's a pretty sizable pole. Ward not too far off, but then further back, I mean, Dragoon is about 4/10 off the leader. There are no kind of big gaps in the field, or at least not in the top 15 that I can see. But then, of course, you have the fact that it's about 2/10 between all of them, and that's going to be interesting because it means we're probably going to get a little bit of traffic midway through this race. It looks as if the order is going to be Stevenson, followed by Ward, then Dragoon, Cochrane, Merrick, Southwood, Rositsis, Gibson, Benoit, and then Keys Willems. I was just about to see if Willems was going to improve on his lap, but it looks as if he's heading back to the pits. And Stephen Heppner's doing the same thing. So that is indeed the end of that qualifying session. The screen is about to fade to black, and we're about to head to the well, there's going to be a bit of a wait time before the start of the race.
Right, so Stevenson might be out of the race because his force feedback is not working apparently in the chat. So he could be out of the race, and Samuel Ward could well have pole. This could be a Charles Leclerc at Monaco here. Saw that race, we could well easily have that.
And he's gone! Yeah. So Stevenson, after taking pole position and setting the fastest lap that we've seen all day, has disconnected from the server, presumably to try to get that issue rectified. Sometimes if you do just leave and then rejoin again, it can rectify the issue. It can solve everything. But he's got a very limited amount of time to do that in, and it looks as if Stevenson may well be out of the race. And he's back. He's back, but does it work? Does the force feedback work? The car is technically possible to drive without the force feedback, although it is extremely difficult, and he will not be anywhere near as fast as he is now, and may be a little bit of a hazard if he can't get that fixed in the next, well, about a minute now.
Yeah, he's got a minute to get it fixed if he can. Yeah, we don't know what's going on with Stevenson. He's back. I'm just going to put in the chat, is the wheel fine? Yeah, if the wheel's fine, then it should be alright. Don't forget, we have a rolling start this race, as it is NASCAR. So what will happen, they'll all go on the grid, and they'll do one lap, slowly, rolling start pace, and then they'll go for it from there. So it's 41 laps, it's actually 40. It's a rolling start. So in a way, formation lap.
Okay, good to know. Hello to everyone in the YouTube chat. This is normally the point in the broadcast where I check that, and the Twitch chat as well. We've got Stavros there watching along. Case Master, oh my goodness, hello, good to see you. Was that a GT3 safety car? Yes, it was, and it is not going to be used at all because we actually do we have cautions? I don't think anyone's told me about those.
Yeah, Stevenson's still complaining in the chat. He could well easily be out of this race.
That's
we've got the grid now.
A big issue. Sorry about any language you may have just seen in the chat there. You're all adults. I'm sure you've all seen it many times before. What's the button I need to press to get? Oh, there we go. It's B. Control B. Yeah. Okay. So Stevenson starting from pole position here, alongside Samuel Ward. Back to the Twitch chat quickly, because this may be the last time I'm able to check it, depending on how exciting this race actually is. Brunboy saying, more commentator detail on bad cars soon, TM. Thank you very much. Remember, justice for Caitlin. I'm joking. Ross deserves all the love he can get. And Billy Mac official watching along and cheering on Staffy.
There we go.
Right, so 6 red lights, but ignore those because we have a formation lap. So when the lights go out, we will not be underway immediately. Instead, Stevenson will lead us away slowly, and after that one lap, we will be underway. And he stopped. He's still there, so Stevenson does not get away, and that's as a result of the force feedback issue, I presume. He's still trying to get it working, and he's been hit! He's been hit!
Oh no!
And he really shouldn't have left his car sitting there. If he knew he was trying to get it restarted, then having his car stop there on the grid was a little bit irresponsible, if you ask me. A couple of cars trying to rejoin the race. Let's take a look at the order. Samuel Ward will lead us away, followed by Jan Dragoon, and it's a red flag, and we're going to do a restart.
Yeah, so Thomas Marshall in the chat there, have it all up. Yeah, there we go, red flag. It's all back to square one, as they say. So yes, Samuel Ward will be on pole now, unless Stevenson might have to go back to pits. Also, unless he can just get it sorted again.
Well, he's back on the grid, so he has another chance.
Yes.
So if he can get the car started, get the force feedback working, get the wheel working, then he does have a chance to get this race underway. But I expect it's his last chance, because they will not want to do 2 aborted starts. Sam Wood, ready and waiting to take the lead if need be. Let's run through the grid quickly one last time. Well, it's actually not letting me just yet, but it is going to be Stevenson, and then Wood, and then Jan Dragoon, 3rd place, I believe. And Dragoon, of course, he's very quick in single-seaters. And Stevenson goes back to the pits, and it's going to be Wood leading us away. So Samuel Wood will lead the race off the line, followed by Jan Dragoon, and for the 3rd time, Stevenson exits the session, exits the server, and presumably exits the race. Alex Cochrane will be 3rd, followed by, well, we've got a brace of DAC cars there, with Merrick 2nd, and with Merrick 4th, and then Southwood 5th. Agnes Rositas will be in 6th position, then Oliver Gibson, Simon Benoit, Keys Wilhelms, Stephen Heppener, Jack Coven, Adam Woodward, Gustavo Dalla Valle, something's Panagiotopoulos. Sorry, I cannot remember his first name.
Panagiotopoulos.
There you go. Mateus Morgado, Thomas Marshall, very slow to get away there in P16, not entirely sure why. And presumably Stevenson will not take the start. So, that's your order. Drama already, and the race has not yet begun.
Thomas Marshall got teleported to the pit apparently, but he's managed to get it going again. He should be exempt from that rule because it is only the start. He's just got to go back to the back of the grid and he'll roll with it from there. Yeah, they're all starting to form up now. So here we go. Yeah, get ready for this one, Caitlin. Jan Dragoon's doing a Verstappen here.
2x2 formation, American style. We're getting prepared to go in New York. Watkins Glen, the NASCAR version of the circuit. Out of the final corner. Wait for them to floor it. Let's go racing in Watkins Glen. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Away we go. And it's going to be Ward on the inside up towards turn 1. Dragoon not able to get alongside him, and he's dropping back. Cochrane will be on the inside and loses out. So Ward, Dragoon, Cochrane, they stay in that order. The Bagbridge Sport car is being split slightly behind them. Up the hill we go. Stephen Heppener dropping back a place. It looks as if it's clean. Up towards the boot we go. Up towards the bus stop for the first time. Robbie, over to you.
Yeah, so it seems like they all must have got away clean because I can't see any accidents at the back anywhere. Yeah, Samuel Ward has managed to get has obviously taken pole at last second. He's leading the way now. Slowly but surely starting to pull a gap to Dragoon behind him in the Concorde. Merrick P3, let's not forget, he's a challenge pit driver, so it'll be quite a bit of an underdog story if he can pull something off here. He's actually looking to challenge. But it might be a bit. I think Merrick's down in 4th. Yeah, I think Merrick down in 4th there. Yeah, don't discount Merrick. He's a challenge split driver.
Morgado off at the back, sorry. Morgado's our first spinner of the race, and he's going to get it going. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think we have cautions today. I think that it's a straightforward race, and if a driver DNFs or stops on the track, then they're expected to DNF.
It is Jack Coven, I think.
Yep, Coven's had a little issue, but he's got it running again. He's dropped to 14th. But yeah, as I was saying, if a driver stops on track, they're expected to DNF, to teleport back to the pits before they get in the way. Of course, you don't have to do cleanup or anything like that, so it's safe to stay green the entire way, and that's what we're going to do. So Ward is still leading, followed by Dragoon. Looks like Morgado's gone back to the pits and is presumably out of the race as well. So 15 cars remaining.
Oh.
What's happened?
We have two. So it's a bit of contact between Coven and a Concorde.
Panagitopoulos, they're still down in 14th, so he's probably the driver that Coven is battling with right now. Across the line they go to start the third lap of the race. It'll say lap 4 at the top of the screen, but that of course is because of the formation lap technically counting according to the race server. On to another lap we go. Stephen Heppener, running wide, very wide. He's gone a long way off the course. Morgado has now officially DNF'd from the race, and Coven's been into the pits as well. Off in the background goes Thomas Marshall. His bad day continues as he rejoins the circuit.
Yeah, big shame for Thomas Marshall. Morgado out of the race. So Thomas Marshall driving for my team, RG Racing. Running down 13th at the minute. He can pull it back once he has about 38 laps or so to get it sorted. There's only Dalla Valle quite far away from actually, so he's got a bit of work to do, but I believe in Thomas. He's a good lad, he's a good driver. I'm sure he can pull it off.
Indeed, towards the end of another lap of racing, we're over 10% of the way in already. This is going past very, very quickly. Dragoon and Cochrane probably the closest two together in the first part of the order, because Ward is beginning to get away, to stretch his legs, and Stevenson is. Well, he was already out, but now he's disconnected from the server again.
Is Jack Coven out, maybe? He's in the pits?
He's been in the pits. He's been in the pits for a while, so even if he's not out of the race, he's going to have lost the lead lap. And unfortunately, it appears to be pretty much over already for Jack Coven, so 14 cars remaining now. Marshall with a slow lap there due to his big spin. So Ward, Dragoon, Cochrane, Merrick, and then Benoit are the top 5. Gibson is right there behind as well. And still a relatively close pack. 10 seconds separates the top 10 cars. Although Dragoon, of course, still getting away. In the real world of NASCAR, it's usually Chase Elliott who's the driver to look for in the road courses, and especially at Watkins Glen. You do get your road course specialist sometimes, and it looks as if Ward may be the road course specialist in this series, judging by the form that we've seen in this first round, Robbie.
Yeah, so we're just looking to Oliver Gibson here. He's slowly trying to close in on Simon Benoit. We haven't been able to do. He's just getting a bit closer, but then he's losing it a bit. Yeah, we know Sam Ward has pulled a gap to Dragoon now. Starting to field is gradually just spreading out a little bit now. Case is round. Massive crash.
Who hit him?
One of the frostbites. It must be happening. It's the only one left.
Yeah, Heppener's been affected in that as well. So Heppener drops, Willems drops, and he's got some potential damage as well. And they both appear to still be in the race. Sorry, we missed that. Unfortunately, we don't have any replays. Thank you to Case Master for keeping me updated on the volume situation in terms of the stream. Apparently, I'm significantly louder, Robbie. I don't know if you can do anything, like significantly louder than you. I don't know if you can do anything about that on your end. But I've been adjusting the settings throughout the stream. So hopefully it's a bit better now than it was at the start.
Yeah, you're only louder than me because my mic is turned down a lot. I can turn it up, but then I'll hear myself in my headset, and then you'll probably hear me chance more.
Yeah, that's an annoying issue to have, but might be worth giving it a go. Anyway, so Cochrane's now dropped about a second back from Dragoon. Heppener now into the pits after his collision, so possibly with too much damage there. And yeah, it appears the leaders are all spreading out a little bit. and it's Southwood and Rositas who are the top 2 cars in attacking range of each other. Rositas all over the back of Southwood's car. Now, the issue with Watkins Glen in these cup cars is that it's very difficult to overtake here. Turn 1 is an opportunity, but actually all of the other corners on the track, as Rositas proved me wrong by taking a look up the inside and going straight through into P7. Very nicely done. As I was going to say, there aren't really any other heavy braking zones, or particularly heavy braking zones. Because these cup cars, of course, have much better brakes than they used to, and this circuit is a relatively fast one at the best of times. But as we just saw, it is definitely still possible to overtake here, and Agnes Rositas proves that in tremendous form.
Yeah, we've had a few messages in the chat saying sort the title out. That's not our problem. It should have been sorted out by someone earlier.
I asked for that. I asked for the title to be changed.
We did ask, yeah.
It's okay. It's right on the Twitch stream. I think it might just be wrong on YouTube, but that does tend to be the case.
Always do my streams, yeah. They always tend to have the title wrong. Panagiotopoulos is if that's how you say it, I don't know. Is maybe starting to build some pressure on the sole RG car of Thomas Marshall. So don't forget Thomas Marshall, head of Sprint Series as well. But he runs the whole show. But yeah, you've got Panagiotopoulos. It isn't nice to pull that cap back now. Meanwhile, you've got Hepner on one of the bad cars.
Oh, sorry, Marshall running extremely wide there. He might be about to lose that 11th place. These two not having the greatest day so far, but it's definitely worth continuing because you do get points down to 15th place here in Formula Trout. Panagiotopoulos right around the outside, very nicely done. Although unfortunately, Marshall did rather hand that one to him.
Yeah, it's Thomas Marshall. If can you maybe get a slipstream? Here he goes. Turn 1, can he get it done?
Oh, sorry, there's been a change. We've got Merrick past Cochrane, and 2 of the DAC cars there have swapped. Yep, Marshall up to P11.
Thomas the lad. Oh no! Oh.
But as for Merrick and Cochrane over 3rd place there, I don't know if that was strategic. Of course, they are teammates. I presume that Cochrane must have made a mistake because I don't see why else they would have swapped, unless that was Alex saying, you know, Jace, why don't you have a go at chasing down the 2 cars in front of us? A bit early in the race to be doing that though, and I haven't really seen anything to suggest that Jace has the pace to do that, but I suppose we shall see.
Yeah, we shall. Yeah, Marshall did get past. That's why we were talking about that. Yeah, he's starting to pull away now. Good job from Thomas there. Case Willems, he hasn't had a particularly good race. He doesn't have much luck in the Sprint Series, as you lot might know from last season. It's not particularly brilliant for Case in the Sprint. He's tends to have it all in the Premier Series, but his team are champions pretty much now. Comments curse, please don't come in there. But yeah, his luck isn't brilliant. If you don't get what I'm saying, Lion Racing can win the other championship, Premier Series Challenge Split, if they score 2 points, if they outscore Jace Merrick's team by 2 points next time out. But yeah, it's not had much luck today. We'll still get points.
Southwood's had enough of that. He's recovering. Don't know if he's hit anything. And he appears to still be in 8th place there because all of the other drivers behind him have had various incidents and accidents all the way through this race so far. So Southwood had enough of a gap to have that incident and maintain his position, but he's now over 10 seconds back from Rositas in P7. So it's the top 7 now who are in the battle pack, and the rest of them are continuing on for the sake of points at this stage, I feel. So back to the front. Benoit and Gibson have been getting closer and closer over the last few laps. That may be the next battle to brew. Jace Merrick, incidentally, has still been dropping back from Dragoon a little over the last couple of laps, so I don't feel that was a tactical move between Merrick and Cochrane. I think it may have been purely accidental. Of course, they're not technically teammates. We have the DAC racing car and then the not DAC racing car. Totally not DAC racing car. But even so, I presume that they won't want to fight each other too hard. But anyway, whatever the case, it's changed.
Oliver pulling in on Benoit. They keep getting close now and again. If you can maybe get a good exit out of this corner, you can maybe have a look on the straight, but I don't think he's got a good enough exit to have a go on him. No, he's probably a bit far back to have a lunge at turn 1. Yeah, he's a bit far back. And Jack Covin's out of the race. Yeah, that's what now 2 Lioneers in this race. But yeah, Oliver Gibson keeps getting close, but then that is it, pulling away.
So, we're about a quarter of the way, just over a quarter of the way through this race already. It really has been flying past, which is a bit of a shame, really, because I'm sure that this is going to be a great series. Thomas Marshall in the pits. Now, I think that these cars can go the full distance without making a pit stop, because 40 laps, it's going to be close. These cars are quite fuel heavy, or not particularly fuel efficient. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think if you treat them well, then you should be able to do those 40 laps without pitting. Have you spoken to any of the drivers about that, Rob? Do you know what the fuel situation's like?
Well, I think they'll do. They'll put enough fuel in to do a pit stop. That's what I reckon's happening here. In terms of pit stops, there's a mandatory pit stop rule. I don't know if you know this, but you have to pit at least once, which is what I think they'll put fuel for half distance or whatever. What I reckon they'll do, they'll choose what lap to pit on before the race. They'll do then they'll go up to that lap on that low fuel, and they'll fill up that same fuel again. The tyre can go a distance.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's how it works.
See, I was wondering whether they would instead change tyre, because you've got to do something in the pit stop. So I presume you can either refuel or change tyres or both. I was presuming that they'd fill up full at the start and then change tyres in the pit stop, but not refuel, because I thought that would take more time. But actually changing tyres takes quite a long time in a stock car as well, so it may actually be better to hold from changing tyres and just refuel. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that situation as the race progresses. And it should be in a couple of laps when we start seeing the first real tactical stops. Gibson took a look at Benoit there down into turn 1. They've now got Rosita's back right on their tail as well.
Yeah, Oliver Gibson, a good friend of mine, is closing in on Timon Benoit. He might have the out of looking at chicane here. Is he confident? Yeah, he is. Here he goes. Look. Yeah, easy.
Good move. Well, it was far from easy. Going into the bus stop, the car is all sorts of out of shape, but he made it stick. So Oliver Gibson now ahead of 2, and they're swapping, I think, Benoit and Rositas. 2 of the Racing Army cars swapping positions, and now it's Rositas' go to have a go at Gibson.
Yeah, well, I've done a lot of racing with Oliver. He's a very good defender. Oliver, let's not forget, he didn't have the Challenge Cup Drivers' Championship as well. He's in a fierce battle with Jace Merrick for that. He's a very good defender. Oliver does not know how to defend from big pressure behind. Well, not in Mugello, of course. You'll know he locked up, went to the gravel and bottled the win with a few laps to go. But he's very good with NASCAR. He's obviously not a defender here. We'll be able to see what he can do. It seems like Resist is fast at the minute, but can Oliver trigger his defending skills, and we'll have to see if that good defensive side comes out in him today, or if it's not in him. Let's see.
Keep an eye on this. Rosita's in the slipstream, pulling out the slipstream to the right-hand side and trying on Gibson what Gibson pulled on his teammate a lap ago, and he's made it stick. Gibson very twitchy, very loose over the sausage curbs, and makes it into the corner all right. And now he's going to be under attack from Benoit, who almost pries the door open into the or past the boot there. And it's Rosita's up to 5th now. So does Benoit have a look? Well, he does. But I think that was just speculative. I think he was just trying to unsettle Gibson into the penultimate corner there. Towards the start-finish straight they go once again. So more drafting going on. And Gibson, the meat in a Racing Army sandwich for another lap.
Yep, let's not forget Oliver can also try and pressure Agnes Resist as well. It's not all over yet, but it's not going to be easy for Gibson the next few laps, but he can do it. I know he can. It seems like he's gaining again on results in some bits, but in some bits he's losing time as well. But let's see what happens.
Through the bus stop again. This time no one quite close enough to go for an overtake. Through the boot, and off goes Woodward. Oh wow, he's found himself right on the other side of that. There's a little gap in the barrier there, and he was kind of neatly parked backwards in that little gap, and he recovers. And that car you saw going through, that won't affect him much because that was a driver who's a lap down already. But Woodward there went so far off the track that he's guaranteed to have hit something. Here's a helmet cam on board showing that his steering is still pretty straight. I think he's got away rather lightly with that one.
It's not actually. Oliver is pressuring Agnes to pick up the pace, and they're actually pulling out Cochrane in. So seems quite interesting.
Indeed. Well, we're keeping an eye on that one. Catching Cochrane a little actually. That last lap was quicker. To the outside. Yeah, if he'd pulled that one off, we'd have all been absolutely screaming. But Gibson is going to lose some time in that one. Maybe come under pressure from Benoit into the final couple of corners. The car a little loose, a little bit of a wheel hop. Keeps it under control. These stock cars, so much easier to control than they used to be. The later few generations have really gone in the direction of being proper, fully fledged sports cars. Very kind of much lower slung, much lower center of gravity than they used to have back in the 80s and 90s and before that, of course. And the next generation NASCAR, which is coming out relatively soon, looks to be continuing that trend of going even more high tech, even more low slung. And not that much quicker, of course, due to the restrictor plates. But I imagine it's going to handle very differently to what we've got now and what we've had in the past. Looking forward to maybe Formula Trout race in the next generation NASCAR one day.
Yeah, maybe RSS will do a Hyperion 2022. It'd be quite nice. Yeah, it'd be nice to see them do that. We've got lapped cars getting out of the way here. Samuel Ward clears Panagiotis. Yeah, that's Dragoon laps. His teammate Thomas Marshall will be next as well, unfortunately for him. Fortunately for us as well. Yep.
The issue with this, of course, is that Marshall up ahead, he's actually not fighting Panagiotis anymore, is he? Because he was, but he appears to be another lap down now since he's been in the pits. Oh, and he's going for a move there on the outside. You see,
yep.
I'd be worried about this because when you get two cars fighting up ahead, none of them really want to give you any room, even though they have to. But I think, yeah, Jan Dragoon, well, Panagiotis is going to make it rather easy for him there. Would have been much harder if they'd been fighting for position, I feel.
Yep, oh, Marshall's a bit wide. He's quite a long way back. Stephen Heppener about 4 corners in front of him. So it's, yeah, big shame Thomas Marshall in the first ever race for RG Racing. We have to pull it back up for him. I mean, he's not had much luck ever with the Thomas Marshall. They have been in Premier for a while. We did a Winter Cup race, a Formula 1 endurance race at Spa, and it was the only F1 that I managed to beat that day. So yeah, and even then I lapped him like twice. But yeah, he's unlucky. He's very good. He's good. Most of the time he's very quick, Thomas Marshall.
Tell you what, Rositas is flying here. He's catching up to Alex Cochran. He was about 3 seconds back a couple of laps ago. Now he's within a second for the first time in the race. Dalla Valle's in the pits. Now that's scheduled. If you look at the lap count, we're almost half the way through. So this is about the time you'd expect to see drivers coming in for their mandatory stops. Both drivers running wide over the curbs. Again, I don't know how strict the stewards are going to be about that, whether they're going to look back at it after the race or not. But for the time being, what you see is what you get. And what we see is Rositas coming into the pits. So Rositas coming in from P5. He's the first of the top 5 to make that stop. Woodward pitting ahead of him from 10th place. And unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to see from here exactly what they're doing in the stop, whether they're changing tyres or refueling or both. Or neither, but I don't know what they'd be doing if they did neither. All I know is they've got to do something in the pits, and we should be able to see what drivers are doing differently to each other by the differing amounts of time they spend in their pit box. So out goes.
Has been triggered.
Sorry, what was that?
I think Benoit's got past Cochran now. Yeah, he has. What? No.
Benoit? Well,
no, sorry. I thought it was Benoit being overtaken by getting Cochran. I thought, how was he caught that much? And now it's that car.
No, it's just Panagiotis there getting out the way of Alex Cochran. Cochran is going to stay out. Panagiotis comes in, and that's going to leave Gibson with a bit of clear road there, which is very good for him.
That will be.
And Cochran needs this. He needs the traffic to move out of the way, because he is in a race. It doesn't look like it, but he's in a race with his rival Agnes Rositas. Of course, the longer he stays out, the more chance of that undercut working there is. But of course, if Rositas refueled, then Rositas will likely be slower than Cochran at this point in the race. And Cochran may have an advantage by staying out. That's what the overcut is. So I'm sorry we can't give you more of an insight on what kind of strategies they're going to be going for and what's going to be quicker at this stage in the season. It is of course the first round, so at this point I'm not sure anyone actually knows for sure. We'll have more of an idea later on in the series when we go to the other road course that we're doing. But for now, it's all very much up in the air, and Cochran stays out for another lap, which might affect him because he's got some traffic there. Dragoon pits, so Dragoon is in, and Cochran is going to have to weather the storm, passing Marshall and that Bag Racing car, that Bag Motorsports car as well. And as well as Dragoon, Gibson is in from P6, Robbie.
Yep, Oliver Gibson has pitted, which would maybe that could help the Racing Army car. Oliver Gibson has had a bit of clear air. Yep, he's been jumped in the pits by Dragoon there. Yep. So let's see where the Racing Army car is. Both obviously, Rositas cleared him.
Yep, Gibson resumes the circuit. Rositas is long. Oh, he's not long gone, is he? He's going to be alongside him. So Gibson, who was behind Rositas before the pit stop, is now neck and neck with him up through the S's. This is dangerous, but Rositas gets the place. So Rositas gets the place, and that is a good sign actually for Thomas Marshall. Sorry, not Thomas Marshall. For Alex Cochran, because if Rositas drop back that much to Gibson, that shows that the overcut may well be viable here. Jace Merrick now in the pits from P2. I'm more interested in Cochran at this point because Merrick was kind of in his own in this race. Benoit stays out, Ward stays out, Cochran now up into second position.
He's gone very wide though, Cochran. Turn 1, he went very wide.
And you can see there's 14 seconds now difference between the leader and second place due to how the strategies have played out of the final corner come and Dragoon and Merrick there fighting on pit exit. So Dragoon coming out in traffic, Merrick coming out in traffic, loses out to Jan Dragoon. So Dragoon there has jumped Jace Merrick.
Yep. So
Or just
Yeah,
about covered him off, rather, because of course Merrick was behind Jan Dragoon before this whole pit stop stage. Only just, though, so that is a crucial one in this race.
Yep, and Samuel Ward, the leader, is in the pit. Can Cochran maybe get the jump? Or is he pitting too? Cochran pits too. This could help Jace Merrick. He's nowhere near. No, Merrick won't even have a chance of getting the lead here unless he can pull off something that is ridiculous. I don't know.
Ward and Cochran both stopped, so Benoit now leads the race temporarily. Here comes Dave Southwood, but more interestingly, Dragoon and Merrick are the next two cars who have stopped.
Yep. Yes, Simon Benoit for Racing Arm in their first ever race leads the, so not the Grand Prix, he leads the race. He'll have Ward is still behind him though, which is still quite sensational.
But look at the gap that Ward has to Dragoon and Merrick there. That is a big, big gap, and much bigger than it was before the pit window, showing just how much of an advantage Ward has been pulling. And I definitely think the overcut has been proving itself to be the better strategy so far in this race, and it's only going to get more and more beneficial because towards the end of the race, the cars are still going to be fresh. Now, Rosita's here. P6, and he is behind Cochran and quite a long way behind Cochran. So yeah, again, the overcut proving very beneficial, and the gap has extended dramatically there.
Yep. We have a bit of complaining. Also, Jack Kirby not happy that he's had to DNF in the Sprint Series chat on our Discord. He's not very happy, quoting "what a joke." Big shame for Jack Corbin. So on his return to Liveries, but yeah, it's unfortunate for him. We have got a battle on between Gibson and Resist. He's trying to get that back, trying to pull back in, and he is actually. We know Oliver Gibson's quite quick in NASCAR, to be fair. And he's slowly, gradually pulling him in. But whether he does it or not is a whole different story.
Let's see if Benoit comes in. He stays out. So Benoit enjoying his time in the sun, going for the mega super duper overcut. And judging... Oh, and he does pit, sorry. He's just pulled in very last minute. Must have been very close to the wall there and to the commitment line. But anyway, he has made his way into the pits. Sam Ward leads the race by 7 seconds over Dave Southwood. Southwood is also yet to stop. Again, showing just the dominance that Ward has been demonstrating. He was nowhere near as dominant before the pit window. The overcut has benefited him quite a lot, but even so, he was already leading by about 4 or 5 seconds. And I think it's damage limitation for everyone else in this race so far. Now, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, the championship's over then, isn't it? Ward's dominant. Absolutely not. That's not the case, because first of all, we've got to wonder about what Stevenson can do in the future races in the championship when he rejoins. Of course, he's going to be massively on the back foot, considering he's missed one of the 4 races, as Marshall there has hit the pit wall apparently. But anyway, and secondly, we have a very different style of racing coming up. 2 of the 3 remaining races in this championship are going to be oval races, and a lot of these drivers aren't used to oval racing, being a European-based series. We have done some in the past, but not that much of it. So whoever is the best at that is going to have a big advantage in that one. I'm just trying to look up the calendar for the championship, but anyway, I know that we have 2 of the rounds are going to be at oval circuits, and then of course the other 2 are going to be at road courses, including this one.
Yep. So looking at the calendar for this series, right, you've got, obviously we're doing Watkins Glen here. The next road course is Road America.
Indeed. So we've actually got the Indianapolis 150 next up.
Yeah.
I got confused with the oval race at the start of this broadcast, actually, saying that we were going to 250 miles of Indianapolis. We're actually not. We're doing 150 miles. So that's 60 laps, and that is going to be in 2 weeks' time. And then, of course, we do have that Road America round, 25 laps of Road America. And then... and to be honest, that's probably going to be the longest race of the on the calendar in terms of time. In terms of distance, it's definitely the Michigan 250, which will round out the championship from the Michigan Oval. And that is going to be on the 27th. So a very short series means that every race matters a heck of a lot in the overall championship standings. And it also means that it's going to be a real balance of oval ability and road course ability. Sorry,
Marshall Pitts, is he out? Is he?
Well, that's his second time into the pit, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's out. Even if he isn't, I think he'll. The best he can hope for is to finish this race, really.
Yep.
So not a good day for him, that. And as a result, not a good day for your team there, Robbie.
No, it's alright. We've just gradually, just first steps. You know what I mean? We'll get it going eventually. I wanted to have it in the Premier Series a few weeks back. We never got it in the end. But never mind. We'll try again. Start next season, and maybe the next Sprint Series as well. But yeah, we'll start to see. Depends what I think as well. If I don't want to do RG anymore, I don't have to. I can just scrap the team after this, can't I? So I don't know. We'll see what I'm thinking at the time.
Just out of interest, do you know if Angel Burnaby is going to be driving that car at any point this year?
Angel Burnaby, yes. So I probably not. No, I've really just got him in just because I had a third driver signed up. You know, just to be sure. Angel Burnaby is my teammate of mine at ISP in the Premier Series. We did a few races, but his rig broke, which means we probably won't be seeing him again for a while. Which is a shame, because Burnaby was there on the day. On his day, he could pull off a good point finish. As Marshall returns to the race in dead last.
4 laps down now, so he's very much just going to stay out of people's way, and the best he can do is finish at this point. We have 8 cars on the lead lap. You're watching the 8th of those. This is Oliver Gibson, who is dropping back a little from Rositas, has been over the last few laps. Very much requires one of the Racing Army cars to make a mistake at this point. I think if something's going to change in this race at this point, it's got to be through traffic. Dave Southwood still hasn't stopped, has he? Unless I've missed something.
No, he hasn't. No, it's I don't know how he's still going. But I mean, they can make it onto this race. Is he maybe going to just sacrifice it, then go for fastest lap again? But you don't forget a point fastest lap in this series. Yeah, doing Premier. I don't know what'll happen. We'll have to see. What sort of do? It's an interesting strategy. Maybe he has put it without. I don't know.
It's a super long stint from the Isle of Man driver there, the Manx man, Dave Southwood, staying out once again. Of course, if his fuel and his tyres can take him to the end, then he can theoretically do it. Although he would be disqualified, he could always just come in on the penultimate lap and get his pit stop out of the way. Then it's within the rules. Simon Benoit there just gave way to Magnus Rositas, so Rositas there goes through and once again starts chasing down Alice Cochrane. They were having a fight before the pit stages. Just shows you how much faster Rositas is in this race than Cochrane so far, because even though Cochrane is ahead, Rositas was catching before the pit stages, and now he's catching again after them. There was about 6 seconds between the two when he came out of the pits. This may just be a matter of time here, but Cochrane will want to hold on as long as he can, so he will probably fight to the death. Hopefully not literally, this is sim racing after all. should theoretically be safe, but things could get heated.
Yep. So yeah, again, the field starts spreading out a little bit. It's at the front. Samuel Ward is currently at the chicane. Dave Southwood is not too far back. I don't know if he's paid or not. So we don't know. Is he on fresh tires? Is he chasing down Samuel Ward, or is he just?
No, he hasn't pitted. I would definitely have noticed that. He was running about 8th earlier on in the race, and since then.
Yep, not time enough, really. Is he chasing?
Ah, sorry, just little issue in the background there, but we are back. Yeah, Dave Southwood was running about 8th earlier on in the race, and now finally makes his pit stop. So it'll be interesting to see where he comes out after all of that. I said the overcut would be important, but just how important actually is it, and how much can you push it? Oh, in the background, look how close Rositas is now to Cochrane. He's going for it down the straight to the outside. Cochrane had a 6-second advantage, which has been reeled in. Looks like Southwood's going to come out 8th. Into the S's, Rositas has the inside line. Cochrane's left it wide open to try to cover off the second apex. He makes it stick, but it's going to set him up so badly for the bus stop. What a slingshot effect from Magnus Rositas. He can't turn in yet. There's a car on his inside.
Fucking outbreaks him.
Gibson's going to be right in the mix here. Bouncing over the curbs. Well done to Thomas Marshall there for getting out the way. Saw that in the background.
It's going to be a 4-way battle for P5. Don't go anywhere, people. You want to be here now. It's going to be nuts. Here he goes, look.
This is great stuff. It looked as if... Oh, and they bang doors. Wide goes Cochrane. He's going to be passed by all 3 of them. He's rejoining and straight into the side of Gibson. And there's not quite contact, but it looked like there was going to be. Now, Rositas has 4th position. 4th position? Who's dropped back? Oh, Southwood, because he pitted. Sorry. Yeah, so Rositas there, P4. Then Benoit, Gibson, and Cochrane. Fantastic stuff, and it just goes to show that when the race looks like it's spreading out, it can always come straight back together again in the nick of time. And Cochrane there, who's been struggling recently, has dropped back. Now what I'm wondering may have happened there, because Cochrane gained a lot of time over his opponents in the pits, is potentially, do you reckon the others changed tyres and he didn't? I think that would explain why he was able to gain so much in the pit window, because he wouldn't have had to have put on new tyres. And Gibson up the inside, Gibson up the inside of Benoit for P5, going through in a very similar way to the way that Rositas claimed 4th a lap ago.
A big crash, apparently. Stephen Hefferner.
Cochrane spins, and into the wall goes Simon Benoit. He tried to come back up the inside of Simon Benoit. Benoit didn't see him coming. He turned in, and they have crashed at the final turn. They've both kept it out of the pit lane, but they've lost a position to Dave Southwood there. Just finished what I was saying. That would also explain, the whole tyre thing would also explain why Cochrane was dropping back towards the end of the race. But now he's going to drop back even more due to contact with Simon Benoit.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like Oliver will mount a challenge P4 unless he can pull off some supersonic move in the next few laps. So yeah, we did have a crash, as we were saying earlier, between Cochrane and Benoit. But yeah, that has really benefited Rositas and Gibson. Yeah, that's good for them. As Dragoon back second. One I haven't talked about this is Jace Merrick for DAC. His first ever race for DAC, currently part of the DAC system with Thick Taps and the other series. He's come to the actual DAC team for NASCAR. He's running P3 at the minute. Yeah, doesn't seem like he's going to be challenged to P3, and it doesn't look like he can challenge Dragoon for P2 either. No one's gaining or pulling away.
Let's have some onboard action. This is driver's eye view of the Watkins Glen circuit from Oliver Gibson as he watches Agnes Roditis. Roditis has appeared to be faster in this race so far, although every time I think he's going to pass people and then get away, something else happens. I think we've had another off from Marshall. Oh, that's at turn 1. Meanwhile, Hepner's just passed Panagitopoulos for P11. Marshall recovering. Back to Gibson. He's not letting Rositas get away, is he?
No, he's as I've said, I know him well enough. He's a very good driver. He's very quick. You should have seen it in the F1 series, but he's just gonna try. Maybe he's gonna try and pressure Agnes. Is he just gonna go for it? He's gonna just pressure him. We don't know. Well, let's see what happens.
Did you see the glowing brake discs of Oliver Gibson's car down into turn 1 there? It shows you just how much he's pushing, laying on the anchors like he would never have done earlier on in the race. He's feeling so confident behind the wheel now. And P5 is about where I expected him to be at the start of this race, but he's clearly not hugely happy with it, because he still feels that he can get that P4. The time's running out though. He's lost a couple of tenths of a second in that last sector, and he's only got 2 more laps, so I think it's going to require a mistake from Rositas if it's going to change. Little twitch from Gibson. That's what they call getting loose in America. And his last lap was actually a little dodgy, I'm afraid, according to the lap times.
Yeah, he's definitely pulling away. Oliver's always someone who wants more. He's always hungry for more, but I think today it's just on his way. Never mind. It's still a very solid P5. That's Bonner's teammate, Case Willems. Obviously, we had a bit of confusion. People tend to call him Keys, but it's Case. He is running P10 at the minute. It doesn't seem like he's going to be pressured for that either by another good friend, Stephen Hepner. Don't think that's going to happen. It's just going to be Case Willems comfortably bringing it home in 10. 2 laps left, and then Ward wins. He's about to lap Willems, actually.
Indeed. Again, it looks like we're only going to have 8 cars on the lead lap at the end of this one, which shows you just how dominant Ward has been. I wish there'd been cautions in this race. Actually, a lot of the time that's how NASCAR works and how it's so exciting, with the cautions constantly bringing the cars back together again. I hope we have cautions at the oval races, but yeah, it would certainly spice things up. But for today, Ward has been allowed to extend his gap, and at the end of the day, that's probably a good thing, because it means that the race was completely fair, or as fair as it could be, and Ward has shown up the rest of the field. And I'd say, I mean, I'm speaking too soon because we've still got a lap left after this one, but I'd say the best driver is winning.
Yep, he is a good day, Samuel Ward. Dragoon's been nowhere to challenge him. Quite frankly, all it's going to take is a massive crash from Samuel Ward to win it for the Concorde, for the new team owner of Concorde. Taking over from Ty.
We will take a look at that in a minute. Just watching Benoit and Cochrane going on to the final lap. They're back together again. Hopefully it'll be cleaner than it was before. Thomas Marshall once again parked on the exit of turn 1. He has not liked that corner today. So here is Samuel Ward. 2 corners to go after this one. Spare a thought quickly for Stevenson. What could he have done if he'd been allowed to start this race? Maybe it would have been a totally different story, but of course we will never know. Personally, though, I don't think anyone would have had anything to say about Samuel Ward's pace, apart from that it has been brilliant. Out of the final corner comes Samuel Ward, and he approaches the checkered flag, which he takes. So Samuel Ward wins here at New York. Second place will be Jan Dragoon. He will finish 12 seconds back in the end, showing just how dominant Ward has been. Across the line, Jace Merrick will be third place, a good day for the DAC racing team. Agnes Rositas will be P4, one of the fastest drivers on track at various different points in the race. Oliver Gibson, P5. Dave Southwood will be P6. Let's take a look at the battle between Cochrane and Benoit. And it looks as if they're going to finish cleanly. That's good to see. After their collision earlier on in the race. And the remainder of the top 10 will be made up by Gustavo Della Valle and Case Willems, also finishing with Stephen Heppener, Stathis Panagotopoulos, Adam Woodward, and Thomas Marshall doing donuts, despite being 7 laps down. That's good to see. Good sportsmanship. Obviously enjoyed the race anyway. And drivers hitting the wall and bouncing off each other in the run of error at turn 1 there, in true Formula Trout fashion. Some retirements, of course. Jack Coven retired and wasn't very happy about it, although I don't know who he's blaming for that incident. Mateus Morgado also retired earlier on, and Stevenson never started the race after taking pole position. He did the full Charles Leclerc, and we'll never know if he would have won the race.
Yep, so let's give it a minute and we'll get some of the interview. We'll get some of the lads in to interview them. Very dominant race there from Samuel Ward. Led every lap. Whether he got the fastest lap or not, I don't know if that's the point thing. Nevertheless, did get the Grand Slam, I think, because he led every lap on raw pace. So, to give it a minute, we'll see if some people come for the interviews. I will be talking to them to see what their thoughts are on the race, their perspective and all that. Let's give it a minute. It takes them a minute to go and waiting for an interview. We'll get the first one in a second. That will be Alex Cochrane. Let's get a few more in here. Here he is, Alex Cochrane.
Alex, you there?
Hello there.
Jolly good. So, Alex, in the end, you were P7 on the lead lap, although possibly not quite the race you would have been looking for there. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, started off relatively well. You know, I qualified much higher than I thought I would. Unfortunately, Stevenson couldn't start the race due to an issue with his wheel. So yeah, starting P3, I think it was pretty good. The pace wasn't too bad at the start, but yeah, it just started to drop off as the race went on. You know, I was keeping up with Sam at front and keeping up with Dragoon as well, but I just couldn't keep up the pace. And I think, I'm not sure if you know, but I think Agnes might have took a new set of tyres.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I thought as well, because he dropped back a lot from Alex, from you, and then caught up again. So so strategy was slightly different to how you were expecting it, was it?
Yeah, well, I think if the pace didn't drop off, I mean, clearly, you know, Jace in P3 was on the same strategy as me. I'm not sure what Sam did, but he kept up the pace. So if I could have kept up with him, it wouldn't have been an issue. But yeah, it put me, you know, he was right behind me, and then we had contact. I don't know if you caught it on the stream.
Yeah, we did, unfortunately.
Massive contact, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened. You know, it's hard to see in these cars, the walls. I'm used to the open wheel cars. But yeah, I had contact with Agnes, which put me behind the train, and then trying to make a move up the inside of I'm not sure who it was. It was his teammate.
Simon, yeah.
I had contact again, which, you know, you never want to do. I've not watched it back. I can't point the finger at him. I don't know if it was my fault, so I'm just gonna let that be. But yeah, unfortunate end, because it did start off okay. But great job to Sam for the win, and Jace for the podium as well for the team. So it's a really good job.
Indeed.
Nice.
Well, sorry, Robbie. Yeah, you wanted to say something.
Yep. Not really. It's, yeah, good job, Alex, today. Thanks for coming to an interview. We've got all that we need to get you going, because we need a few other guys need to do an interview as well. So thank you for coming in. So we get Case Willems in.
Indeed. I'll let you take that one, Robbie, if you want to.
Hello, Case. How are you?
Yeah, it's not my greatest race, or at least not my greatest start of the season. But yeah, it's my my first NASCAR race ever. I think the start was pretty decent until a few laps later, where I think I touched the inside of the curb of turn 2, and then I went around and I would lock the brakes, and then I had a bit of damage. So I pitted early. I think it was like lap 6, lap 7, something like that. So I pitted for full fuel, new tires, and tried my best to get to the end. Made a few minor mistakes here and there again, but yeah, I think I finished P10, so that's still a few points for the championship. And yeah, Oliver, I think finished P5 before someone
You
attacked.
did.
Not the
Very
best
good.
race for me, but overall for the team, it's not too bad.
Yeah, obviously Jack didn't make the end either, did he? What could happen with Jack?
What happened to Jack is that we believe that Thomas forgot to turn off that you can get a penalty if you jumpstart the race, because obviously we have an outlap. So he by accident he jumped the start, but for that he got a penalty, and eventually he got sent back to pits. I got a black flag and couldn't go out again. So I think that is at the fault of Thomas for that. It's really unfortunate for him, but. He says he will be more than ready again for the next race, so I'm really excited for that.
Jack felt after pass on the series, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, so obviously, you know Lions, they're not a particularly sprint series team, are they? Obviously, you're 2 points off the championship in the other one, so you're focusing on that. You're not really a sprint series, a team that can fight in sprint series. Obviously, Oliver is fighting, but you're not one that can fight for the championship in sprint series, are you?
No, I personally see the sprint series more as of like a series for the fun. Most every season's a bit of a different
laugh, yeah.
sometimes a different genre. So yeah, obviously it's nice to get a decent result in there as well. But yeah, mainly for me it's just fun races to do. So yeah, next race at Indianapolis. My luck hasn't been too great at all from the top on the oval races over the past. Over the past few months and seasons, so I'm really curious to see how that goes.
Yep. In this case, we are limited on time and we need to get the lads in, so I'm going to get you on your way. Thank you, Case, and I'll see you later.
Thank you, Case.
Caitlin, do you want to take Jace?
Indeed, from Case to
and then
Jace.
I'll take Agnes.
Okie dokie. Jace, are you there?
Yep, I am here.
A very strong race from you. P3 in the end. How does that feel?
Feels pretty good. I would qualify better though if the rule regarding the pit entry line was a bit more clear. I was under the understanding that we could cross it at all unless we were pitting, but I figured that one out lap 2 of the race. Funny enough. Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, like it was a great race. Yeah, good win for Sam. Drove the wheels off that thing and honestly just felt good. Yeah, I can't wait for Indianapolis, honestly. Got a good track record there and yeah.
Well, it worked out in the end for you. You got lucky actually in the way that you kind of found yourself in an area of the track where no one else really was. It looked a little quiet out there for you for most of it.
Yeah, like me, Sam, Yan, and Alex, we all just pulled away from everybody, and we just kind of made our own track. So that's pretty much how that wound up. So yeah, lap traffic really wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, like thank you to everybody who respected blue flags, by the way. We really appreciate that.
In terms of strategy, could you enlighten us on what was going on that front? We presume you didn't take tires, but was there also refueling?
No, I did not take tires. We mainly just stopped for fuel. Tires were the big question mark. It was theoretical that we could make it to the end, but I think it just didn't pay out for us to not take tires in the end, because yes, I was consistent, but I wasn't fast. And I want to say that's why I lost a chunk of time to Yan there at the end.
So Yan did take tires, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're just trying to piece it all together in the broadcast booth. It's really irritating because we can't see exactly what tires everyone's going on and whether they're changing in the pits. But yeah, I knew Agnes did behind you. But anyway, thank you for enlightening us on that. Hopefully, we'll be able to work it out a bit easier at Road America. But anyway, thank you very much for talking to us, and congrats on your P3 there.
Yeah, thank you.
Right. Can I take Agnes?
Okie dokie, let's finish with Agnes Rositas.
Yes, get him in. Hello, Agnes. Are you there, mate?
Hello, yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly fine. So you were having a bit of a battle with your teammate Simon Benoit, and you were quite close to Oliver Gibson. Just talk about that battle that you were having with Oliver Gibson and what happened with him the majority of the race.
Yeah, so most of the race, I was pressured by Gibson. He did very well, and I must thank to my teammate Benoit for letting me pass, so I didn't lose any time. And but a lot of time at the start, so I had to fight back from the P8. So Gibson was not the only fight for me. Also, I had a fun battle with Cochrane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I don't think we got that on the stream, unfortunately, but nevertheless, I think you were P5 in P4, P5 in the end.
Before.
P4, yeah, so very strong finish, very good setup for the championship as well. Obviously, with Simon Benoit up there, be a very good setup for the team as well for the next 3 races. So yeah, other than that, don't think there's anything else I really want to say. If there's anything Caitlin wants to say,
It was definitely funny to do a rolling start, because obviously Assetto doesn't really support rolling start, so there was no signal at all.
that
It was only a guess when they start. So yeah, that's why I lost a bit there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Agnes. And
Cheers.
that is your interviews. We're gonna end it at that because we've got no one else in there. So yeah, that is that.
Indeed. Well, thank you all for watching that broadcast. Thank you to Robbie for joining me for the very first time. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time, which is going to be at Indianapolis. And knowing Indianapolis, knowing oval racing, and knowing Formula Track in general, you will not want to miss that one. So as I said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you then. Goodbye.